to an AK Press book unboxing. There's quite the setup here. Not very professional. We've got lots of pillows propping up the camera. We'll see how this goes. I just received this box of 9 books from AK Press, my favorite publisher. AK Press. They finally had their 50% off all AK Press titles sale that they usually have every winter around the new year. And I looked at the box, I really wanted to open it, and it's been a while. And these books feel appropriate for the continued horrific times we are living in, as they are informative and help us to be strategic and hopeful and determined and committed to our collective liberation. So, shall we? We've got some crinkly paper coming up. I imagine it will be a strong crinkle sound. Let's see. One piece of packaged paper. Two pieces of packaging paper. Three pieces of packaging paper. Let's see if I can do this. We're almost done here. It's going to be loud. Four pieces of packaging paper. I think this is the last one. This is going to be loud. Almost. It's really tucked in. Okay. 5 pieces of packaging paper. Okay. So first of all, AK Press always gives you some promotional material. They just redid their logo, and their logo has usually been a anarchist flag with a red triangle and a black triangle, an AK Press either on the flag or below it. And they recently redid that logo, and now it's a wavy flag like this. AK. I have their old logo sticker on my water bottle. We'll see where I put this one. What else? We have a little promo for another book, it looks like. Ruiner by Laura Messersmith Galvin. This is not a book that I ordered. Looks like it's being published March 31st, 2026, and they would like to promote it. Ruiner. This like fey looking rabbit in gold. Rabbit with wings. Looks like it's a series or a trilogy. It says Teller's Book 1. Okay, and now, oh, there's more. Oh my gosh, I love this sticker. Oh my gosh, I didn't order these, they just put them in the package. This one, oh. Where will I put this one? This is like a publicly displayed one. I mean, all of them are. This says, anti-fascism is for lovers. In the same colors as the anarchist flag and AK Press logo. Yay. I'll have to figure out. I don't think I have room on my water bottle or my laptop. So we'll see. Anything else? Yes, here it is. Their catalog. Winter 25-26. The art is always so beautiful on their catalogs. Oftentimes it comes from the cover of one of their books that's about to be published. And this says, it smells good. It says, what we have is each other and our will to remake the world. Quote, Kelly Hayes. And I love this. It's beautiful, the coloring, the nature, and in this corner, people gathered around the fire celebrating. Beautiful. And here on the back, you can see their old logo, AK Press. And again, here's their revamped logo. It'll take me a while to get used to the new one. And here on the back, it says, Radical Publishing, not just radical books, akpress.org. Highly recommend. Oh, look, there's a QR code. Okay. And this has a list of books that are upcoming, books that they have published already, AK Press merch. They also distribute other books that other publishers have published, but that fit within their value system. And they also have a little welcome friends note here for what we're living through and why these books are important. Okay, we'll put that back here too. Shall we see these 9 books that I've received? Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, let's see. The first book. Don't Look Left, A Diary of Genocide by Atef Abu Saif, author of The Drone Eats With Me. This is a book about the genocide happening in Palestine. And it's a very important book that I'm very excited to read. It's important to read. And it says, all profits from the sale of this book will go to 2 Palestinian charities, Medical Aid for Palestinians, and the Middle East Children's Alliance. If you have any dispensable income you're able or willing to donate, this would be a great place. Just like there's so many very important things that we should all be organizing around, putting our money for. This is one of the many. This is a very important one. This was published very recently. This was published in 2024. And it's dedicated to Bilal, who was one of the martyrs. Don't look left. It says on the back, in October of 2023, Atef Abu Saif had gone to Gaza with his 15-year-old son, Yasser, to visit family, and as the Palestinian Authority's Minister of Culture to mark International Heritage Day. They'd only planned to be there 4 days, from Thursday to Sunday. During a morning swim, the bombing began. This is a memoir. Don't Look Left, Atef Abu Saif. Okay, that's book number 1. Book number 2, what do we have here? We have a bookmark that AK Press gave me too. Oh, I love this bookmark. Oh, it's embossed. It's their new logo. Radical Publishing, not just Radical Books. Oh, what a good bookmark. So many good goodies. Okay. Now, this second book, book number 2. Imaginary Power, Real Horizons, The Practicality of Utopianism by Richard Gilman Opolsky. It's a very, there's a lot happening on the cover here. This is by a professor of political theory and philosophy in the School of Politics and International Affairs at the University of Illinois. In this book, Imaginary Power, Real Horizons, is for those who would dare to dream of a society organized by a different logic than that of capitalism. These essays chart the value of creativity and utopianism across topics as varied as the cyclical nature of revolt, the international history of May Day, teaching radical theory and Marxism in contemporary China, the communist content of love, and the revolutionary aspirations of free jazz. this is a book for anyone interested in the human imagination as a real world-creating power. I'm interested in this book because of the essays and the breadth of the content. The only curiosity I have is the utopianism. Usually, my work and value system is rooted in that of Black queer feminisms, Chicana Latina feminisms, abolition, decolonization, and utopianism is not something that we often purport in those lineages, because they tend to purport a way of viewing the world that kind of doesn't acknowledge the challenges that we have to face and reckon with. So I'm curious to see how this author conceptualizes utopianisms here. So I'm curious about this one. Imaginary Power, Real Horizons. This book was published also in 2004. All right. Now, book number 3. To Rob a Bank is an Honor by Lucio. Is that an U? Urtubia? Translated by Paul Sharkey. And this image of the person here is the person who wrote this book. This is also another memoir that was originally published much earlier than it was actually published. Let's see. So Lucio Urtubia was born in 1931 and died in 2020, and was a bricklayer, anti-fascist, forger, bank robber, and anarchist. He and his wife, Anne Garnier, founded L'Escape Louis Michel in Belleville, Paris, and raised a daughter named Juliette. Urtubia's life is the subject of the documentary Lucio and the film A Man of Action. Paul Sharkey, who is the translator, has made a vast body of anarchist works available in English. He lives in Ireland. And then it also looks like the person who wrote the foreword, his name is Philip Ruff, who is a historian. And this is all about the life of Lucio Urtubia Jimenez, where it says, in 1981, Lucio Urtubia received a suitcase full of cash from Citibank executives. In exchange, he handed over the plates he'd used to forge $20 million in traveler's checks and walked away a free man, the most famous Robin Hood of the 20th century. Told with Urtubia's free-flowing warmth and humor, To Rob a Bank is an Honor narrates the life story and political convictions of a larger-than-life figure. I've never read anything quite like this, and I'm curious about it. Oh, that sounds good. Fresh, crisp pages. This book was also published in 2024. It doesn't say when it was originally published. Maybe it was originally published in 2024. It couldn't have been, because he passed away in 2020. So it's not telling me on the, oh, here we go. This book was originally published as La Revolución por el Tejado in 2008 by Tixalaparta. And so this is the English edition. To Rob a Bank is an I'm curious about it. We'll see. Okay. The fourth book. Oh my gosh. I've been waiting to get this book. The cover of this book I'm about to pull out from the box was the cover of last year's AK Press catalog, and I have that hanging in my office. Look at this. The Zapatista Experience: Rebellion, Resistance, and Autonomy by Jerome Basquet, translated by Traductores Rebeldes Autónomos Cronopios. I love the artwork. It's so minimalist, and yet look at the detail on the dress and the face that you can see peeking through the Zapatista mask. Oh my gosh, and the chanclas. I'm so excited for this book. This says, the autonomous rebel territories of Chiapas have helped rescue hope when it seemed all but dead. These territories are among the most developed and radical of the real utopias, quote unquote, that exist in the world today, exceptional in their experiments in self-governance and anti-state politics. The Zapatista Experience orients readers in the Zapatistas' ongoing practice of autonomy and their writings concerning their novel understanding of politics, their analysis of capitalism as a total war against humanity, their conception of indigeneity that builds both collectivity and individuality, and their notion of time and history. Jerome Basquet is a historian teaching at the Universidad Autónoma de Chiapas in San Cristóbal de las Casas. He is the author of many books, of which the Zapatista Experience is the first to be translated into English. And the translators, who is Traductores Rebeldes Autónomos Cronopios, is a group of US-based radical translators. Oh, it smells so good. All right, I'm so excited for this one. This was also published in 2004, and I'm not seeing the original, if there was a different original publication date, since this is an English translation. So the original might also have been published in 2004. All right, the Zapatista Experience. Oh, probably the one that I was most excited about in this haul. All right, that was number 4. Now, number 5. This is an older one. The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness. This is the 10th anniversary edition. It's been out for 10 years. It has a new preface by the author. It was a New York Times bestseller. This is a book that AK Press has distributed. So they didn't originally publish it. This book is originally published by the New Press. And this is a paperback. All of these books, I believe, well, so far they've all been paperback. This says, seldom does a book have the impact of the new Jim Crow, since it was first published in 2010. So that's not 10. This has been published for 16 years. It has been the winner of numerous awards and has spent nearly 250 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. It has been cited in judicial decisions, read in countless faith-based and secular book clubs, and adopted in campus and community-wide reads. Most important, it has inspired artists, philanthropists, policy makers, community leaders, and a whole generation of racial justice activists motivated by Michelle Alexander's searing indictment of our criminal justice system and her unforgettable argument that we have not ended racial caste in America. We have merely redesigned it. So this book is important for me to read and for us to read because it is really foundational for understanding the prison industrial complex, understanding and situating this complex in this industry inside of a social, political, historical analysis of how slavery, the system of slavery, was not fully abolished. It became the prison industrial complex, and policing came from this. And so it lends itself to really understanding what and why we need abolition. And let's see. We already know that this was published in 2010 originally by the New Press. It says royalties from the publication of the 10th anniversary edition of the new Jim Crow will be donated to organizations courageously working for racial justice and the liberation of all. And they say for information regarding supported organizations and to donate directly, go to the Mosaic Fund for Justice. Mosaic Fund for Justice. Could be something to look up if you're interested in donating. So it looks like there have been 3 editions. The first edition, original, in 2010, the second edition in 2012, and then the 10th anniversary edition published in 2020. So this edition of the book is 6 years old now. Probably the oldest book I've ordered in this batch. The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. A best-selling classic. All right, what was that? 5? Yes. Okay. Number 6. Driven by the Movement. Reports from the Black Power Era by Jonina Abram Irvin. We've got an image in the background of some direct action going on, kind of in like a blue, black, and white. This was published by AK Press. And it says that Jonina Abram Irvin is a journalist and formerly the editor of the Black Panther newspaper and managing editor of the Black Scholar. She is a retired Western Michigan University Associate Professor of Communication and co-hosts the Black Autonomy Podcast. The Black Autonomy Podcast. Let's look it up. And this book says, Driven by the Movement follows 20 ordinary people who did extraordinary things for the Black liberation struggle in the decade of 1965 to 1975. Coming from all walks of life, they were single working mothers, clergy, students, and military veterans organizing against police brutality, poverty, and colonialism. And so this is a collective biography of those experiences in that era, and it is an example of fractals repeating themselves, fractals for understanding strategies we can engage and build upon for this moment we continue to live in. And this book was recently published last year in 2025. Driven by the Movement. Okay, we're almost through here. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess there's 10 books in here. Let's do the hardcover. Okay. This book is not published by AK Press, but it is distributed by them. And it's another important book related to understanding the context of Palestine. It's called Lobbying for Zionism on Both Sides of the Atlantic by Ilan Pappé. And the image here is of the land of Palestine with the flags of Israel and the United States, and looks like the UK as well, Britain. And this is a thick hardcover book. I was just reading the winter 2024 issue of the web magazine Hammer and Hope, which was talking about and contextualizing the student encampments for Palestine in the the spring of 2024. So it must have been spring 2024 issue. So it's really good to find this book after I was just reading those again. So let's see the author. Ilan Pappé is an Israeli professor of history at the Institute of Arab and Islamic Studies and director of the European Center for Palestine Studies at the University of Exeter. He is the author of over a dozen books, including the best-selling The Ethnic Cleansing of Palestine and The Biggest Prison on Earth, referring to Palestine. In 2017, he received the Middle East Monitor's Lifetime Achievement Award at the Palestine Book Awards. So this is something that we don't see a lot of, which is an Israeli professor or someone who's, an Israeli professor who receives these Middle Eastern Achievement Awards, who's working towards and studying Palestinian studies. And this is why this book is important, because the author is talking about the lobbying that happens around Zionism and the narrative that is shared. And so let's see, this says, the untold history of how pro-Israel lobbying groups influence U.S. and British policy. In 1896, a Jewish state was a pipe dream. Zionists mooted places as diverse as Palestine, Uganda, and Argentina, and most Jews in Britain and in the U.S. remained aloof from the ideologists. Today, support for Israel is a sacrosanct feature of British and American political life, and the overwhelming majority of Jews, well, I don't know if this is true anymore, identify as Zionists. How did this happen? And so he looks at a history of this. I also want to say that, I don't know about that last piece there. There's a lot of anti-Zionist Jewish folks out there. They're predominantly organizing in Jewish Voice for Peace, for example. And a lot of younger folks are identifying as anti-Zionist Jewish. So I'm curious about this one. I think it'll be, Palestinian perspectives are very important to read, and I'm curious to read about this Israeli perspective who is situating this work in the context of Palestinian studies. All right. And this book was published by One World Press, distributed by AK Press, and published in 2024. All right. 2 more books. The artwork on this one, I've also been excited about this one. Look at how beautiful. Wow. Constructing Worlds Otherwise, Societies in Movement and Anti-Colonial Paths in Latin America by Raúl Zivecki, translated by George Igarza Quispe. I just love this artwork of this person with the sun around their head and this monarch butterfly. So beautiful. This is by AK Press. Feels so nice. I love how this cover feels. It's like a mottled feel. All right, so Raúl Sibeki is a Uruguayan writer, popular educator, and journalist. He writes for La Jornada, Desinformémonos, and NACLA Report on the Americas, among other outlets. Sibeki has published numerous books, including Dispersing Power, Territories in Resistance, and The New Brazil. And this book says, through a survey of the most marginalized voices across Latin America, feminists, the indigenous, people of African descent, and inhabitants of urban favelas and rural towns, Sibeki introduces the Anglo world to a range of critical perspectives and new forms of struggle in Peru, Mexico, Brazil, Colombia, and Bolivia. His book contributes to global geographies of autonomous and anti-state thinking, including that of the revolutionaries in Rojava and Abdullah Öcalan, ideological theorist of Kurdish resistance, for a rich and dynamic survey of movements of non-state power. Constructing Worlds Otherwise comes at a time when the global left, struggling to expand its vision in an era of climate chaos and rising authoritarianism, finds itself at an impasse, desperate to animate and renew its critical imaginary. Oh, this is another one I'm just like really excited to read and feeling like beautiful about reading. And this was published very recently also in 2024. Constructing Worlds Otherwise. All right, La Última, the last book. What I thought was number 9, but is actually number 10. Oh my gosh, no, there's 2 more in here. How many books is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, I just miscounted. Okay. This is such a beautiful cover. Oh, look at this. This is so relevant for right now. Read this when things fall apart. Letters to Activists in Crisis. Look at this beautiful artwork. It's by, the cover illustration and titling is by Ali Costello. And this book is an anthology edited by Kelly Hayes, published by AK Press. It says, in social movements, some heartbreaks are all but inevitable. Campaigns will be lost. Mental health crises will occur. Social ills, like gender-based violence, will manifest themselves in movement spaces. People will experience profound personal losses. Grief, alienation, and despair can grind us under. Sometimes we need accompaniment. Sometimes we need to be met where we're at by a caring voice of experience. Read This When Things Fall Apart is a care package for activists and organizers building power under I've never seen that word before, fascistic, demoralizing conditions. It's an outstretched hand offering history lessons, personal anecdotes, and practical advice about how to navigate the woes of justice work. We are not alone, everyone. We are not alone. I think things are falling apart, and this is a good book to read at this time, so we can help what needs to keep falling apart fall apart, and so that we can collectively be rebuilding everything that we need to keep us safe and well and healthy and joyful. Healthy meaning well and expansive. Oh, this is beautiful. This is published in 2025. There's no information about the author. on the back, but there is in the book. So it says, the editor, Kelly Hayes is a Menominee author, organizer, movement educator, and photographer. They host Truth Out's podcast, Movement Memos. Movement Memos. I've heard of this podcast. I think if you're watching this, it would be a good podcast to look up. And our co-author of the book, Let This Radicalize You, I have that book, with Miriam Kaba. Hayes is also the creator of Organizing My Thoughts, a weekly newsletter about politics and justice work. Read this when things fall apart. All right, ahora la última, número 9. And my rice is ready to eat. Okay, another one that I'm curious about. Now and After, the ABC of Communist Anarchism. This is a previously published book a while ago that AK Press has reissued in this new edition. I again haven't read anything like this, so I'm very curious. When I read a sample of this on Google Books, I was intrigued, and I don't know the other word. I liked the writing, which is why I bought this one instead of waiting to get it from the library. This is by Alexander Berkman, who this is here. And there is a preface by Emma Goldman and an introduction by Barry Bateman. And this says, an exposition of anarchism by one of its clearest thinkers. In a conversational style as thought-provoking now as the day it was written, Berkman discusses society as it exists, the need for anti-authoritarian socialism, and the methods for bringing it about. In writing Now and After, he aimed to dispel misinformation about the aspirations of anarchists in the minds of average people. Snaps, snaps, snaps. His secondary goal was to re-examine the international movement after the Russian Revolution, arguing that authoritarian methods cannot lead to liberty. It's like Audre Lorde's The Master's Tools will not help us build the Master's house. Or the Master's tools cannot be used to dismantle the Master's house. Indeed, means and ends must be aligned to ensure lasting equality and freedom. And Alexander Berkman, the author of this book, was born in 1870 and passed in 1936. So this is a working classics. And he was a leading writer and participant in the 20th century anarchist movement. And this book, I'm excited to read. Obviously, that's why I bought it. I think it's important to read. Was published last year in 2025. And it doesn't tell me when the original was published, but I'm gonna guess it was sometime in the late 1800s or early 1900s, before 1940. So, Now and After. So, that's the unboxing. I'm going to put these back in the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I miscounted. I have dyscalculia. I do. 10. me count these here again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Did I count wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, I counted 9, and then I counted 10, and now I just counted 9, but I just counted 10. I don't know. Thanks for watching. You're not alone. I hope that this was a good mixture of gentle, soothing, relaxing, as well as informative and hopeful. Check out AK Press. They always have 50% off sale in their winter. They also have random 30% sales, and they're great.